What's good, YouTube? It's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul, and welcome to another remake video. Today we're going to be remaking Halsey's record Without Me. I believe recently they put out a remake with Juice WRLD, but we're going to remake that track in Logic Pro 10 right now, so let's get straight to it. First things first, let's go ahead and set our tempo to 136 beats per minute, and we're going to start off with that main guitar sound that we hear throughout not the entire record, but most of the record. We're going to go to guitar, and we're going to bring in something called, let's use the classical acoustic guitar, and let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. Let's just copy this over, and we'll just kind of pitch it down here. Just fix up this chord right here. All right, so I think that sounds good like that. Here's the two of them together. All right, now let's go ahead and make this more of like a underwater modulated effect. So let's go ahead and go over to our inspector tab here. Let's take out these two buses. We don't want them. We're gonna apply our own settings to it. Just take out the compressor as well. First, let's go ahead and just filter out a lot of the highs and lows. Let's just recall default here. It's going to take out a little bit of lows here. Not too much. Now let's take out some of the highs to get that underwater effect. All right, next let's go ahead and bring in Logic's chorus. We're gonna go to modulation chorus, and this will give us that like that grumbled effect, or sort of warbled effect, if I'm explaining it properly. I think we're gonna use a preset called Pad Enhancer. Just make this a little louder here. Maybe I'll make this a little bit distorted as well, or add some drive. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and bring in a plugin. Now this is a third-party plugin, and I found it worked well in this sound. It is a spring reverberator called Twangstorm from UHE. I'll place a link in the description box below this video if you want to take a look at it. But we're just gonna use the default settings that load up. And it gives us that like really underwater wobbly effect with a bit of reverb as well. Just gonna pull down the decay a little bit here. I just want it for that wobbly effect, and then we're going to go ahead and add in another reverb. We use Logic Space Designer, and let's go ahead and just bring in a large space. Let's go with a plate verb, and let's use a big plates. Just cut out a little bit of lows here. Not not too much. So with all the sounds, we go from that to a sort of like this underwater effect guitar. All right, next is going to create a new software instrument track. And let's go ahead and put in a retro synth. And we're going to place a underlying pad behind this guitar. Something that's very subtle and not too crazy. We're going to go over to synth pads and bring in the Berlin Experience. Let's go ahead and close that up. And let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. Just going to lower that a bit. Alright, I'm just going to filter out this EQ right now, so it's not going to drive us crazy. It's just something very subtle in the background. Alright, so there's right there. Let's go ahead and layer those two together. So it's really in the background, and that's pretty much all you need. Next, let's go ahead and duplicate this two together. And we're going to create a new software instrument track. Let's unsolo that. And let's bring in Logic's EXS24 sampler instrument. And we're going to bring in the Without Me drum kit. And let's go ahead and start off with our claps. Let's go ahead and lower that. Put it on the 3s. Let's go ahead and just add in a bit of reverb on this guy. All right, next we're going to duplicate this track. We're going to take off the reverb. Oh, we're not going to move the reverb. We're going to take it off, and let's go ahead and draw in our kicks. Actually, I think this just repeats itself. And then we get like a little, stutter happening over here. Do like a double tap. I may take a little bit more top end off this guitar. Alright, next let's go ahead and just duplicate this. The clap and the kick switch is up here, so start off with the clap change. Just happens right at the end. So at the end we just get two claps right here. And then for the kick, let's go over to the kick. And this just gets double tapped like that. We take that one out. All right, next let's go ahead and duplicate those over once again. For some reason I can't click properly today. Let's go ahead and duplicate this over. Goes back to the first kick and clap pattern. Let's go ahead and duplicate this drum kit, and let's go ahead and draw in. Let's go with our hi-hats right now. Change this over to a brush tool. Change this over to eighth notes. All right, let's go ahead and paint those in. Just repeat that. Open up our EXS24 and just we're going to cut off a little bit of the highs here. Just so it's not so bright. All right, let's go ahead and just stutter this a little bit here. We get a little stutter happening over here. Let's change this over to 64th notes. Actually, maybe it was 32nd notes. I think we get another one over here. Nope, I think it was maybe over here. Yeah, that was it right there. Let's go ahead and just duplicate that. Push that over. All right, maybe we can go ahead and just widen this sound a bit. We're gonna go delay, sample delay, and we're just gonna delay one channel about 20 milliseconds, maybe a little less, just to widen up those hi-hats. Do it a little bit less here. We'll go a little bit. 7 milliseconds here. All right, it sounds good like that. Next, let's go ahead and duplicate this track. Let's take out the sample delay. Again, I don't want to move it. I want to remove it. And let's turn off that so we don't get any cutoff happening. And let's go ahead and draw in our second hat. I'm just going to change this back to the pencil tool. Let's just draw in that hat. Just gives that a little bit of a bounce. All right, let's go ahead and duplicate that track, and let's go ahead and draw in a actually layer to our first clap. It's like a thicker clap. All right, something like that is good. Next, let's go and duplicate this track. And we're going to draw in 2 more percussions. Let's go ahead and open that up. I think this goes right there. Let's duplicate that track and add in another percussion at the end here. All right, so that sounds good right there. And let's round off this drum pattern with a 808. We're gonna bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizer, and then we're bringing that 808 preset. Turn down the analog down, and let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. All right, let's go down to a nice low octave. I'm actually just gonna play the guitars and the 808 just to make sure we get them properly aligned. Here. Whoa. Up our ES2 and just manipulate the sound a bit. We'll pull up the attack so it's not so clicky. Maybe I'll add in a little bit of drive as well. Turn down the distortion. All right, I think that sounds good. Let's go ahead and bring it in with the rest of the tracks. All right, that's good, just like that. Let's go ahead and duplicate this over. All right, and then so that plays out for 8 bars, and then we get a switch up here and create a new software instrument track, and we're gonna bring in Logic Steinway grand piano, and we are going to draw in the chords, so the little breakdown chords that happen here. Let's close this up, give us more space. Let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. Actually, for these chords, we can go ahead and just duplicate this and bring that down. I believe they're the same chords. Just gonna pitch that down. I think we'll leave it in that octave. Just add some reverb, ambient. Let's hear how it sounds when it comes out of this section over here. All right, so we're gonna leave it like that. We're gonna go ahead and let's duplicate this drum kit over here, bring that down. We're gonna go ahead and bring in the snap. Let's go to find where that is here. Right, there's our snap right there. Put on the 3s. Let's go ahead and just stretch this last section out, stay in it a bit. All right, let's go ahead and duplicate this over. we're going to go ahead and duplicate this track once again as it switches up again, and it's going to be a snare sound. Let's go ahead and draw that in. There it is right there. So for this section over here, we're going to cut this out a bit. Stop the sustain value, and we're going to duplicate this track. And it's going to be like this perk sound that comes up at the end. There it is right there. I want the piano to stop when that kicks in. All right, so that's it right there. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in a riser over here. Let's go ahead and bring in that riser over here. I'm going to drag that in. And we're going to make sure that it hits right on that percussion hit. All right, I'm just going to bring in an EQ, just filter out some of those highs. It's not so bright. All right, let's leave it like that. All right, so we're going to just go ahead and copy this over for the chorus. If I can find this spot right here. Let me zoom in here. And then we're going to go ahead and add in a couple elements to fill out this chorus to make it a little bit bigger. So let's create a new software instrument track here after the 808. So they're all grouped together nicely. All right, so for this one, once again, we're going to copy over this piano. And we're going to go over to Alchemy. And we're going to bring in a soundscape, because there's a lot of like soundscapes happening in this track in the background. I'm not going to get it exact because I don't know what they used, but we're going to try and just put in any soundscape to make it fit well. So we're going to go evolving all, and I think it was called Beauty something that I liked. Here it is right here, Beauty Sleep. And let's go ahead and close that for now. All right, so once again, we don't need all those highs, so we're just gonna go ahead and cut that out. Just fills that out a bit, and we're gonna go ahead and duplicate that track as well. And we're gonna go ahead and draw in another pad, another sort of ambient sound in here. And for this sound, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just search up. I wrote a note here, is Dream Signs pad. It's another pad that we're going to use, except let's go ahead and just close that out. Just make sure that we're using the right, yeah, there it is right there. And close that out. We're going to copy over the same chords. The chords that we're going to be using is this one. And then this one right over here. We're not going to use those bottom notes. Switch those out. I'm just going to pull that all the way down. Just because it's like a nice bed track of like just softness. And then just to add in some fullness, we're going to go ahead and copy over this piano. And we're just going to manipulate the way it's played out for the chorus sake. So I'm going to switch this over to our scissor tool. All right, so right there, we're going to go ahead and just chop right over there. Chop right, select this, I'm going to chop right there. over there. Actually, I'm going to duplicate this onto another track and just bring it down because I want it to be a little bit more quieter. Maybe take out some of the highs as well for this one. Alright, so let's copy that over for the chorus, and then we're going to move over to our breakdown, which once again changes up, and we're going to go ahead and have to create a new software instrument track here. We're going to bring in Logic's Retro Synth, and we're going to be working off of a preset we did a tutorial a while back, the Backup Bass by Dej Loaf, and let's go ahead and draw in that pattern. It's a 4-bar pattern. All right, so let's go down to a low octave. Oh, changes back to my pencil tool. Bono, and it's right here. See if I pitch that one on it. No. Let's just go ahead and open up the EQ and just filter out some of those highs. We get something like that. And let's just copy over a pad. Maybe we'll take this one over. Let's see how this one sounds as well. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and duplicate this drum kit over here. And we are going to draw in just a little sort of like a wood block hit that happens in this breakdown. Oh, there it is right there. Pop that in. Take out some of the highs here. I'm going to add in a reverb as well. Let's go ahead and bring in Logic Space Designer. And then we're going to go back into this section over here. So that's pretty much the remake right there, remade in Logic Pro 10. And listen to the remake we just put together, Halsey's Without Me. So that right there is the Remake 2 Without Me by Halsey. For you Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you guys. Place that as a downloadable link in the description box below this video. For you non-Logic users out there, got your back as well. I'm going to go ahead and export all these MIDI stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum kit that we used in this tutorial. You can find that entire playback in the description box below this video. If you do have any questions on this or just want to chat, let's go ahead and talk in the comment section below. And as usual, if you did like this video, remember thumbs up, share it, and of course hit that subscribe button for more great videos like this one. I'll talk to y'all soon. Later. Peace.